Welcome to the Spare Parts Racing Podcast, your podcast for all things motorsports. With your hosts, Sean Chavarella, Stephen Clary, and Taylor Moore.
Hear that music?
Hello and welcome to another week's episode of Spare Parts Racing. I am your host, Sean.
And I'm Steven.
And it is just the two of us this week. We have no Taylor. So, obviously, we have to talk about the one thing Taylor does not give a flying whatever about, and that is NASCAR.
And our season review.
Yeah, so today we have our 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season review. Get to go over everyone who did well, who didn't, and go over our predictions, which I think were bad. Mr. Prediction Keeper?
They're okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they're okay, is how I would put it. For a weird year that had a couple surprise winners,
Well,
they're okay.
You know, that's a good place to start on. You know, it was a weird year. Like, you had, I would say, in this year in NASCAR, how many different winners was there again?
So we had, I don't even know how many different winners we had, but so at the very least we had
I would say like 16, 7, no, way more than that.
Yeah,
Was it like 18?
17 winners, I think.
Yeah, like that was a very good year for...
Let's see.
How many first-time winners? Was it one or two?
Well, Harrison Burton
Yep.
was a first-time winner.
Trying to think if we had any others.
Cindric won already. Suarez has won already.
Did Cindric win already, or was that his first? Oh, wait, no, yeah, he did. No, you're right.
He did.
Yeah.
You bet on him.
I remember that.
when
I'm
he got there.
remembering it back. Yeah.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs didn't win a race.
But yeah, like it was a weird year, we can say, right?
Yeah.
From
And what?
I was gonna say, from the
Go ahead.
playoff controversy to, I would say, many things that popped up over the season, from guys losing their win, from the whole Kyle Larson shouldn't be eligible for the playoffs because he missed a race, like
Even though he made it to the track and then it got rained out.
there was so much weird stuff happening around NASCAR this year. But it didn't feel like it was a bad season, all things considered. I actually thought this was a very good year for NASCAR. I thought some of the on-track product we had seen is some of the best racing. Obviously, you have issues when it comes to officiating and, you know, the rules package. But besides that, I think everything else has been pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, so problems with officiating? Well, we're one step closer to being a ball and stick sport,
Oh, God.
first and foremost.
Oh, no. What have you done? That's
Yeah.
fair.
But yeah, no, this was a very entertaining season. I'd say my way too early prediction is that next year is going to be disappointing in many fans' eyes, just because I feel like we were sort of spoiled this year.
But, okay, what would a disappointing season be?
I guess
Would it be disappointing if we had, say, only 6 winners next year? Only 6 guys won all year. Is that a more disappointing season of 6 guys duking it out all season long? Or something like this year where it was anyone can win any week? Or at least kind of have that feeling.
depends, I guess, how the championship sort of shakes out. Like if one guy wins out the last 6 races, maybe not as entertaining. At the same time, I guess it would be, because
That'd be impressive as hell.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't happened. So I don't know. Like I'm coming from sort of the point of, I guess it would be disappointing, sort of like how the second Bristol race was disappointing. We have all these expectations because of how the first Bristol race went with the tire fall off. You had everybody sort of coming and going because of that heavy fall off on the tires. You had an apology mid-race from a Goodyear executive for the tire fall off, and then the next race was just same old Bristol.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of, I guess, disappointment. We've sort of peaked a little bit with this season. So to really illustrate it, Going back to the good race poll done by the Athletics' Jeff Gluck, we had 3 races this year in the top 10
Of all time?
of all time, since they've been doing it. And I think he said he's at like they're at 300 plus races. I don't know the exact number, but 300, so over 300 plus races, which is like 10 seasons almost.
Okay. Can I guess? Can I guess? Okay, obviously Bristol's one of the top 3, right?
Yes, I believe so. I'm trying to remember which ones. I
What else would
know
be up there?
there are 2, or no, it was not. I think that made top
Really?
20. Yes.
What were the
I'm trying to remember
what were the top rated races though?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like we had like I don't think it made it. I'll see if I can find it here.
Yeah, because I think that'd be really good to know, like, what is considered, I guess, the top. Because there were a few races this year that I thought were pretty good. Also, just a quick little thing on the Jeff Gluck one, because I pulled up his Twitter. The was it a good season poll? 68 said yes, 32 said no. And I guarantee of that 32 said no, half of that is just mad because of how the championship ended. If you're judging it specifically by on-track product, it was a good race, or not good race, good season.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's what happens when you've had a couple years of the next-gen car at this point. You know, tire manufacturers, a Goodyear, they know what they're working with now. They know the forces, the weight, how they can manufacture a good tire for good tracks. And then you also have teams now understanding these cars more, figuring out how to get more speed out of them or better handling. And like you saw that, I would say, through the year, because you had some races that if they went the distance, you had actual like fuel strategy come into play. You had guys coming and going. Like you need to be able to have a good long run car some of these races. And I think we also had a large number of races this year that finished without actually needing overtime or anything like that.
Yep.
And having good finishes. Like I think for me, my favorite race of the season, definitely recency bias, but it was Homestead. That for me,
Tyler Reddick win.
To go around 2 guys in essentially a corner, and to have that fight, a 3-way fight for the lead in race distance, no overtime needed, occur entirely naturally, that's the racing that I want to see in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to give like my number 1 race, it'd be Homestead. That's the one I would show people to be like, this is NASCAR. Enjoy.
Okay. So I've got the list here.
Okay.
So Bristol's first race did not make it. It is like 20. It's down there. So it only clocked in at 87.
The race that had no tires, where it was actually chaos and really fucking fun. Was
Yep.
really? I find that hard to believe.
Yep.
Oh, it's because Danny Hamlin won. That's why.
There you go. I was gonna ask, what do you think brought it down?
That's
Denny Hamlin effect. So yeah, 3 races in the top 10. Can you name them?
Atlanta.
Atlanta was number 5
Okay.
overall. The second closest margin of victory.
Did the second Daytona race get in there?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Daytona 2
If it would be like a big bump
was
with Burton winning.
No, Daytona 2 was the 6th race of the season.
Darlington?
Nope.
No.
Darlington 1 was 15th. Darlington 2 was just behind Daytona 2.
Oh, okay, I am way off. Okay.
I gave you a big hint like 10 seconds ago.
Did you?
I did.
Oh crap! I missed it.
One race was like 10th. The other race is the first race on the list at 95.8.
from this year.
From this year. So you already named Atlanta, which was the second closest finish in NASCAR history.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other two?
Don't tell me Richmond got on there.
No.
Okay, good. Ooh, man. They were all ovals, right?
Yep. All
Okay.
ovals. You have two. So you have two first visits.
Was it
and
Las
one
Vegas?
only visit. Nope.
I don't know, man. I am drawing a blank.
So your hint there was you named Atlanta, which was the second closest margin of victory ever.
Yeah.
The first
Well,
is the first on this list, which is Kansas, which was the closest
Kansas.
margin of victory that
Oh.
that Chris Buescher missed the playoffs on. And you already talked to for considering you were just gushing about it. I'm surprised you didn't say Homestead.
Oh, I thought that was included in that. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
That's
sorry.
my bad. I thought
Okay,
that, I thought
you
that
know
was
what?
obvious.
So we'll say you only missed Kansas.
Okay.
But yeah, so Homestead was your 10 spot. Kansas, the first Kansas race this year was your 1 spot.
Okay, that makes sense.
So also up there in the 90%er club, you had Darlington's first visit, where Keselowski won, Iowa, and its inaugural
I refuse to
running.
acknowledge Iowa. I'm so mad what they did to that track and killed it for IndyCar.
Yeah. You had Daytona's second running, where Harrison Burton won, and you had Darlington's second visit, where Chase Briscoe won.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, some good races.
That's 7 races in the 90%er club, which is, I'd say, pretty good.
And that's what I mean. Like, on-track product, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Off-track product, we need to work on that. How we count the points, how we go about officiating.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were so many, I think, off-track or post-race controversies this year, as compared to we weren't talking about the on-track product enough this year, and I think that's a shame to NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the list. You had, well, starting with the playoffs, you had the race manipulation where at Martinsville, Byron gets booted.
Okay, let's go. I guess let's even go before that. Let's go to Logano winning itself. People did not like Logano being a winner on one of the worst average performances on a whole year.
Yep.
Race manipulation in Martinsville. We can talk about was it Charlotte Roval with, again, Logano being booted and then brought back in because of an underweight Bowman.
Yep.
You have
Austin Dillon shenanigans to win a race.
Yep, Austin Dillon winning a race, winning the race counts, but it doesn't count for playoff shenanigans.
Yep. Kyle Larson not getting a waiver for almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was just make him sweat.
Yeah,
because he tried to do the double, and that was actually fun at the time. All the coverage for him doing the double, that was good. But yeah, we then just had this awkward. Oh, do we let him race? Oh, he didn't race. Well, he tried. It's not your fault.
The fact he made it to the track despite both races being affected by weather is amazing. Like if Indianapolis has clear skies that day, he makes it for race start.
Oh, 100%.
So
what else do we have? Oh yeah, NASCAR being fucking sued.
Yep. For being shady with their charter deal.
And then the whole the way the charter deal came down, of basically you have fucking 20 minutes to sign this, or I swear to God, we're going to take your family out back. And like, that was what NASCAR did.
Yep.
And what else? What other? Didn't we have a couple fights early in the year?
You had, was it North Wilkesboro? You had Kyle Busch versus Ricky Stenhouse.
Yep. Right. On a race that doesn't even matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But honestly, great fight considering it was like basically a line brawl. Not even just the drivers fighting.
Whose dad got in there?
Ricky's dad got in there because
Oh.
because after Ricky got shoved down, he's like, "Get my dad, get my dad." You had guys getting thrown off the hauler. It was just pandemonium.
God, what a good year we had.
And I feel like people forgot about that because it was just so early on.
Yeah, honestly.
Like that's so to come back to the point of how this sort of started. That's why I feel like next year will be a bit of a letdown because how do you follow this up? Between the on track, the off track, and like so I'm just going through the good race poll and there was some race like every year there's some races down at the bottom.
Yep.
But like some of these you can sort of write off as well because Charlotte, it got rained out. That's gonna affect it, not getting a finish. Bristol too, again, high expectations that maybe unfairly bring that rating down. But it like not saying that it was a good race, but like you can understand why people were sort of let down by it and might have voted bad race.
Yeah.
Because we can see what happens. The problem is NASCAR has no idea how they got there and can't replicate it.
Yeah.
So
and like I also remember like beginning of the season, we had I can't remember how many races it was until there was overtime. Like I'm trying to look through back to all the races and like I'm like looking back remembering Atlanta and being like, wow, that was a close finish. Wait, wasn't that overtime produced? No, it wasn't.
no.
It was late caution produced, but it still finished in its proper amount of time.
Yep.
And like I think it's absolutely hilarious just going through and be like, wow, we've really had a while of good races.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there was some bummers. And I think the biggest bummer this year for NASCAR was actually weather related more than anything else. Like again, you had Charlotte that was rain affected. You had Chicago. What other big races? Wasn't there some, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was weather affected.
You had the season get rained out at the start with the Clash, like
Yeah.
and you have to give NASCAR some props for you saying, it's going to be bad tomorrow. Let's get the races in. We're just going to do a free day and taking a rinsing on your tickets.
Yep.
And gate. But yeah, that's how the season started.
Hey, it wasn't that bad to be honest, but yeah. Should we go over drivers and teams?
Yeah.
And who really did have a good year and who didn't? Because like we said, in a year that was as chaos as this, and with a champion such as Logano, I feel that a lot of teams are actually probably going to be saying, this was a good season for us. We'll come back. We're going to use this, build on it, come back next year stronger. And I feel like a lot of guys will look back on the season and be like, you know what? That wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I think so. When you have so many different winners, it's hard to, like, especially not that we have to start here, but you have smaller guys or smaller teams like your Harrison Burtons, your Ricky Stenhouse's walking away with wins on super speedways, yes. So it's a little bit more luck, but at the same time, a win is a win. Yeah, there's going to be some people where you grade on the curve and it's like, yeah, can't say it was a bad season.
No. Like starting, I would say you have to start with Team Penske. Their 2024 was fantastic as a whole. From winning IMSA, from winning, I think a lot of the big IMSA races. Didn't they win Daytona? And like just a really good season, and then didn't win. They won the 500 for Indy, like Indy 500. So to cap it off, I guess with your NASCAR 1-2. Logano and Blaney combined, 7 wins?
Combined 7 wins, yep.
And Cindric got one of those. So 8 wins on the year for that team. 36 when counted. Yeah, that's not bad. What's the best of math in that, Steven? 8 of 36.
I don't know.
You're the math guy. It's like your job.
Like 25%. I don't know. 20%.
Is it 20?
I think so.
20%. Hey, 20% chance to win a race is pretty good, I think.
22%. Joey Logano ended up winning, so meant to be.
That's actually terrifying. So, for Penske, I would say good season all around. 3 years in a row they've won the championship. Are they NASCAR's top team?
As of right now, yeah. How do you say no?
Honestly.
Whether you can say that it's purely skill versus Joey Logano having a horseshoe stuck up his ass
I was going to
this
go with
year.
like a demonic ritual or something. Like let him win every other year.
Maybe. But yeah, like hard to say it was a bad like. So if we want to do drivers, like we can start with Logano because like obviously winning a championship, A+ season, you set out what you accomplished to do.
Mm-hmm.
The road getting there, maybe like a B-, C+. You were 16th in points overall, or whatever he finally ended up with. Where's my Winston Cup tracker? Here, because I want to say he ended up like 10th or 11th, something like that.
That's valid.
2024 final standings.
This is really good for the auto listeners.
Joey Logano 11th, 592 points out.
Based on old standings.
Based on the Winston Cup standings. So like if you want to do so we went over last week like I guess sort of deserving champion, you could say yeah, maybe less so depending on if you're going by Winston Cup or Chase or whatever, but I think by Chase he probably would have won if you want to go by that.
Honestly, yeah, because like I would love to see it by Chase. I don't think anyone's done that because they always just go season or like 3 wins in the last 10 races. It's kind of impressive.
He'd be close if he wasn't winning it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think a big thing for Penske next year is also can Cindric step up a little more. Like I think he didn't have a terrible year. Got a win, gets playoff eligible, and as the team builds, you have this younger guy who's now coming into, I would say, sort of his prime years. Yeah, why can't he keep going?
Yeah, no, I'm just looking. So he had 1 win, 4 top 4s, 7 top 10s, 4 DNFs, 4 stage wins.
Yeah, but again, if you're basing it on, look at all the guys around him. For a guy like Cindric who has not been in Cup as long as some of the other guys, I think he's doing just fine. And I think you know what you have in the other 2 guys at Penske. If Cindric takes that next step as he enters his prime, I think Penske could be a very scary team.
Yep, so he would have been 20th by Winston Cup standards. Average finish
That's acceptable.
Of 20th, essentially. So, but like you said, younger guy, still figuring it out a little bit.
I mean, younger is kind of relative. He's 26.
Yeah, but so you have like
in
40-year-olds.
NASCAR, that is young though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you have 40-year-olds driving. Yeah. So he's a younger guy.
This was his 3rd full-time season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
22,
Something
23,
like
24. Yeah, so it takes time. Also, fun fact, just looking at Austin Cindric's racing history. Did you know we've actually watched him race live in person?
When?
In Toronto, funny enough.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he did 2 seasons in USF 2000.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, we watched him twice. It was 2013, 2014.
Just never registered, I guess.
Nope, did not.
Makes sense, though. I mean, his dad's on the pit wall, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, isn't Tim Cindric isn't he like the president of Penske or whatever?
Something like that.
Yeah. It is funny, though, that Austin Cindric is doing NASCAR. His dad basically does the IndyCar stuff.
Yeah.
You would think maybe that could be a guy to do the double one day too.
Maybe. Gotta get some name value in there, I guess, but at the same time, don't really.
When your dad owns the company, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Sure. Just full on Lance Stroll it.
Exactly. So next team I think we should talk about is the third place driver and his team.
No love for Blaney.
Blaney was fine. What did you have to say? He had a good year.
18 top 10s, 3 wins.
Steven, do you want to read the stats on every single driver as we go? Like, as we can.
No.
That's what I mean.
No, but like he was like, I was gonna say for him, also like an A+ season and like B+ pathing.
I'll say A minus season because he didn't win.
Fair, but like he was chasing down Logano, and I mean Logano in an even number year. That seems like a hell of an accomplishment. So. Yeah.
If you had accomplished it, it would have been a hell of an accomplishment, but he didn't. Therefore, you can't give an A+.
That's fair.
You'd be a really, really like generous teacher, wouldn't you?
Probably.
A+ for everyone. Okay.
E for effort.
Yeah, that's what all you got in gym class. Anyway, as I carried you through everything. Listen, we all know in gym class I was the badminton expert. You were just the guy in the back. I was not even. I was net front.
Not even somewhat Asian.
Yeah, we were an A+ badminton partnership. Just saying.
Once upon a time.
Back when we were athletic. Anyway, William Byron and Hendrick. Byron, I think, had a good season. Arguably, the number 2 driver, I'd say, at Hendrick, despite coming first in the championship. Or I guess first in championship order of the Hendrick drivers. This seems like he's kind of cementing himself as a top driver there. Like it really is a 3-headed monster there with 3 really good drivers. Byron, again, what do you have? 3 wins in the year?
3 wins on the year.
How many top 5s?
13.
Holy shit.
Which... yeah, wasn't the most.
That wasn't the most. Wow.
Nope. 2 guys ahead of him. One was his teammate.
Larson? Yeah, that's fair. Which, what is it, 6 wins?
6 wins, 15 top 5s, 18 top 10s.
You know,
while missing a race.
That is shocking that the top 5s and top 10s translate that much. That if he wasn't in the top 5, he wasn't in the top 10.
Yep.
That's actually surprising.
That's what it takes to get Kyle Larson out of it.
What was Byron's top 10s?
21.
And what was Larson again? 18?
13 top 5s. 18.
So yeah, Byron had more top 10s. So that's, you could say you beat him in that category. But yeah, Larson had a great season. And again, missing a race out of all of it. One that he probably would have done very well at.
There's a chance if he had hopped in the car even with the weather delay or his delayed arrival, he could have won that race.
Yes.
Josh Berry was getting that, or was it Josh Berry or Allmendinger that was driving that day? Double check.
I'm not remembering.
Where's the Chris Bell win?
Yeah, I do not remember who was driving the car.
Anywho, whatever it is. It was a fantastic season for both drivers.
Yeah.
Obviously disappointing not making the Final Four for Larson. But, I mean, he made a choice. He had to live with it. And, man, where's the number 5 car here? They have Kyle Larson listed for... This doesn't make sense.
I do not.
For some reason, they have Kyle Larson listed for...
Oh, well, it was just an Allgaier that replaced him.
It was Allgaier, okay. Because
Yes.
I think Allgaier had the car up there at one point. I don't know why they have
finished
listed
at 13th.
Yeah, so if you're telling me Kyle Larson couldn't get to the front of the pack there,
Yeah. when Allgaier was just coasting around, probably just like, don't wreck it,
Yeah.
don't wreck it.
Yeah. Keep it clean, keep it clean, keep it clean.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that decision to, or not decision, but also a bit unlucky not being able to get in the car and get the points ended up losing him the regular season championship, which maybe makes him lose the final 4 spot.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's 5 extra points,
Yeah, that's fair.
right? 5 extra playoff points.
Was this a good year for Chase Elliott? A good bounce back after last?
Yes, I'd say so. Only 1 win. Slight issue with that.
Okay, I'll give you this.
Probably
1 win.
Yep.
32 races. He finished 20th or better.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's like in a regular championship format of like just season long rack up points. That's a fantastic season. He's second in Winston Cup style.
That's yeah.
By 5 points. Losing to only Christopher Bell, who had 5 more wins than him. That's the difference there.
So,
or sorry, who had two more wins.
So, but like, if you're Chase Elliott, do you change anything, or just the aggregate's going to balance out for you?
Win more, but that's the only note you can really take away.
All you gotta do is win once, basically, though.
Yeah.
It is nuts, that consistency, because he is unreal with that.
Mm-hmm. So if he can find some winning touch somewhere.
Well, what about the fourth dragon of the 3-headed monster and the fourth one or whatever? You know, where it's like the dragons and the one derpy one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the derpy one, but that's Alex Bowman, who I think is slowly becoming not the derpy dragon and can maybe step into that 4-headed monster for this.
Yeah.
For this team.
Hard to say he couldn't. He was in the final 8, right? So, or the Elite 8, whatever you want to call it.
Lame.
He missed out because his team sort of screwed him. Right? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Team fucked up, underweighed the car. Or
the
car was underweight.
Taking a chunk out of a curb of the car is not helpful.
Yeah. Yes. But so overall, he was 8th in points this year. 17 top 10s, 8 top 5s. Like, yeah, I would be very surprised next year when we do our draft. I would be very surprised if all 400 guys are not taken.
Yeah, we didn't take Bowman, did we?
He is the only one that we did not take. And last year, you could have justified it, but that's because he missed 3 races with a fucking broken back. So probably not racing at 100%.
Yeah.
You can say the same thing about fucking Chase Elliott last year.
Yeah, who took Chase Elliott this year?
This year?
Did anyone? I actually don't know if anyone did.
No, you did.
Oh, really? Oh, whoops.
You took him first.
I did?
Yep.
This is how much this matters to me.
Yeah.
I don't even recall. Wow, okay.
You both got your asses kicked.
Foreshadowing for later. Anyway, yeah, I think all in all, the Hendrick team is strong. Obviously, in NASCAR, I think you have 2 teams, clearly the top 2 teams. That is Penske, that is Hendrick. Of the top 12 drivers in the sport, 7 of which are those 2 teams.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Just because you have a very successful season. You get 3 wins from your top guy, who was probably going to fall back from 6 wins. But then your other top guy in Kyle Larson picks up the extra 3 wins and gets 6 wins. Chase Elliott comes back from no wins to pick up 1 win. And then Bowman picks up a win as well.
But you got to be pissed too. Again, this is 3 years. You have a great stable, and you're not winning championships.
Yep. Well, and what was the rumor for Byron going into Phoenix weekend? They've been testing the cars to try and set them up for Phoenix. Problem, it's the old proverb: to finish first you must finish. And in the playoff format, where only the top 4 get in, they did not finish.
I mean, Byron still finished third. It was fine. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, you couldn't finish first or second. Like, you still
No,
let
but
the
if
other
you're-
team
if
beat you.
Yeah, no, but if you're prepping your cars for Phoenix before you have guys locked in,
Yeah, but that's been the
You
case
should-
since like
you should-
they've
you
known
should-
there's been like the final format with the last race. Like,
Yep.
guys have done that forever.
yes, but you should be maybe having at least 2 cars in the final 4. If you think you're that ready for Phoenix.
Okay, but like on the flip side, that's what, Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus used to do in the Chase era. They didn't
Yeah.
give a shit about everything else. They built cars all year, engineered cars all year, just for the final like 10 races.
Yep.
Just so you knew you're going to be good in those races.
Yeah, but that a little different, but
It is, because you also knew you'd get there. But like you said, if you have these 4 cars and you know you're one of the top 2 teams, you're assuming at least one's getting there. And
Yep.
every year at least one has got there.
yes.
Can they finish
Yeah.
finish it off though? No.
Hmm.
So maybe, I don't know. I actually have no idea what they can do with that, because you're testing your cars to win, but you just can't win. And if I'm Hendrick, if I'm that organization, I am pissed off that we cannot win a damn championship since Chase Elliott won it.
Yep.
Or no, was it Kyle Larson?
Yeah, one of the 2.
I can't remember who was the last. However,
One of the 2.
very frustrating. I can understand.
Is that it for Hendrick?
That was right. It was Larson. Yeah, because they went back to back. Elliott, Larson, haven't been back since. It's been 3 Penske in a row. And yeah, we can go back to or I guess move on from Hendrick. Who's next?
Joe Gibbs. Got to be Gibbs. Had your technically top driver of the year in Chris Bell.
Who should have won based on cut points?
Yep. And maybe has a bit of a gripe because he was doing really well at Phoenix and possibly could have won that race. Maybe things go a little different if he doesn't wall ride. But you can also say he only was wall riding because of the race manipulation from the Chevys. But it's all in the past. So yeah. I'd say he's the top driver there easily now.
I think so. I think Bell had a fantastic year, and he looked strong in so many races. He also wrecked out of a lot of races this year too.
How many DNFs did he have? 6 DNFs. Oh my god.
Yeah, think how much more ahead he could have been.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, one of his wins is a bit of a lucky one in terms of getting rained out at Charlotte, but lucky to be good to be lucky.
You put yourself in that position.
Yep. So, yeah, top guy there, easily. Grading the year solely on the end, like looking at where he ended up, kind of shitty. But like that's got to be like an A- sort of year, right? Like because like think about it. You think about how he got into the Final Four last year. Okay, but he also won on the last race of the last 2 rounds leading into Phoenix.
Yeah.
So maybe not lucky, but definitely a bit more of the consistency is, I'd say, definitely a building block, not rather than saying, well, it was a shitty year because we didn't get as far as last year, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
You have the consistency, you get the win, you're a couple more wins under your belt, and get them at the right time in the year. I think it turns out a little better, and you have a championship driver there.
Valid. Denny Hamlin kind of, I feel like, did not meet expectations.
Yeah, his back half of the year was rough.
His back 2/3, I think, were rough.
Yeah,
Honestly, started off pretty good. Like, he started off fine, won early in the season, and just never had luck.
Yeah. Well, took that penalty for the engine, which not on him necessarily.
Yep.
Sounds like it was a team process thing that got screwed up. Yeah, just maybe showing his age a little bit. Still not saying that he's not a great driver. Still finished 8th in the season and 10th in Winston Cup points. But yeah, like, just you think about what could have been. We went into the third round of the playoffs saying, yeah, I think Denny's going to be really good here, and he was the last driver in that group.
Yeah.
Should have been 3 races where he can rack up some points and be comfortable heading into Phoenix, even with 2 winners or 3.
Hilariously, though, of the last 9 races of the year, his worst finish was 14th.
Yeah, so like,
just wasn't good enough. And
Yeah.
that's just kind of Denny's MO. He's good, but he's not good enough.
yeah. And you wonder, like, the only thing I wonder is how much the off-track stuff, being a part-time owner, gets to you, going through all the legal stuff. It can't help, right?
Given that his struggles in the year seem to be late in or in the summer part of the year, when I'm sure as an owner, talks regarding charters and stuff are probably picking up before NASCAR decided to throw it out there. Yeah, maybe that did have a little bit to do with it. But would I say, oh no, like, it's a disaster of a season? No, he was still a good driver, still races for a good team, still squeezes out 3 wins. That's more than a lot of guys can say in the calendar. So, at the end of the day, a little more consistency maybe in his racing and a little less bad luck, and you win.
Yeah,
Or at least
I'd like to see.
maybe not you win, but you're there in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And again, this is what we said before. Like, a lot of guys can look at this season and take things away and come back positive next year.
Yep. Yeah, like, if you go into, like, so say the legal stuff gets cleaned up before Daytona, you're set there. You don't have to worry about it at all for the next 2-3 years, whatever it ends up being. I'm very curious to see how he does. If it still, like, drags through the first half of next year and he's still struggling, I think you can definitely say that the off-track stuff is getting to him mentally.
Quite possibly.
And it's affecting his performance. But other than that, like, yeah, we'll see what happens, because that's still ongoing and doesn't seem to be any end in sight. So he might be in for a rough start next year.
That's true. Not talking about starting, but instead talking about finishing. Martin Truex Jr. ends his career. Done full-time racing. Honestly, it's kind of a shame he didn't get a win this year.
Yep.
And when you look at his stats, you're like, you know what? He really did not have that bad of a season.
No. Made playoffs.
Was there, was fighting, was competitive. Yeah. Like, really, he had, again, a rough time in that late summer again, kind of mirroring Denny Hamlin, which makes you question, was it more of an actual Gibbs issue around that time? I don't know. Were they selling setups or something?
Something like
Who
that.
knows? Anyway, But yeah, I think for Truex, I think him to end his career this year, nothing wrong with what he did. I think he's a guy. He is 44, knows it's kind of time to call it quits. And when you look back of him basically being in the sport for almost the last 20 years, having a very, very good career, finishes his career with 34 wins, 291 top tens. You know, you're I don't want to say one of the best, but you definitely had a spot in the sport for 2 decades.
Yeah.
And you were at points in there a force to be reckoned with. Right? Like, didn't he, how many championships did he end up having? Just the one with Furniture Row? But like his stint with Furniture Row was amazing at the time. When he was like this tiny team and just dragging them, and they became quite a powerhouse back in like the I guess mid 2010s or late 2010s. And then ends up with Gibbs, and it's a pretty comfortable way to end your career. Again, you're not pushing the envelope. You're not challenging for a championship, but I think you can definitely look back at his career and say, he was a very good driver for the era of, I would say, parity that he definitely raced in.
Yeah. No, yep. Sad to see him go after almost 700 races. Oh my God. That's insane.
700 races and almost 300 top tens. So
good ratio.
That is a really good ratio.
Especially considering, like, you look at how the last 3 years have gone, right?
Yep.
That's like, if you even just cut off the first 3 years and look at the body of work before that and just say, well, he was sticking around to try and see what he could do, and it just didn't work out, and he sort of, it wasn't a Nico Rosberg win a championship, go out with a bang. It was more of a go out with a bit of a whimper at the end.
Still finished this year with 11 top tens too.
Yeah, but still, like, relevant driver, just clearly not top of his game.
Yeah.
So, like, so I'm just going back through his last couple years. So 10th, 11th, 17th.
Yep.
That's the last 3 years. So, like,
but then look at before that, right?
Second, 7th, second, first, 11th, 4th, 24th, 16th, 11th. But yeah, like, solid run from 2017 to 2021.
Yeah.
And finished second at Phoenix in 2021 and just missed out on a championship.
Yeah, and don't forget he was also, I think, second at Homestead too. I think those were also not good races back then before it moved to Phoenix. So
yep.
he came close quite a few times.
There's an easy 2-3 championships in there, perhaps.
Easily. If he wins one of those races and retires as a 2-time champion, I think a lot more people are singing his praise and really saying of how much, it's really, what a good career. I feel like on the broadcast side, on the journalism side, I feel like Truex went out with a whimper. I feel like we could have had a little more celebratory of his career as he announced he is going to be done. But that's just, I feel like media nowadays doesn't care about that.
Yeah, didn't quite get the Harvick farewell.
Yeah. Wow, I have just realized how much time we are at in this. We are talking a lot on this. Okay. Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs, I am solid second season.
Yeah.
I guess, right? Like, good on points, just didn't get a win to get into playoffs, which,
The fact
He'll-
that two
he'll-
Gibbs guys got into the playoffs without wins is impressive.
Yeah.
They're the only two that did, right?
Yeah.
Gibbs and
Was
Truex, the
Gibbs-
only guys that didn't win and they got into the playoffs.
That makes sense.
Looks like you're having
Yeah.
a stroke there.
A little bit. Didn't even think Gibbs made the playoffs, to be honest.
He did. Busher was the one that got bounced out when Burton won.
Right. The win, him and Chastain winning afterwards just
Throws everything off.
me
I
off
know.
so much right now. But yeah, so yeah, like solid season. 8 top 5s. Like he looked like he was gonna get a win a couple times this year. Just didn't quite put it together. But then you remember it's his second year.
Yeah.
Technically.
No, yeah, 100%. Like, I think
So-
Gibbs could do a breakout season next year. I think they were saying, one of the broadcasts were talking about, like, a lot of these young guys, it takes about 100 races, I think, before you get really into the winning and up there. Like, you got to know how to race these guys. You have to learn kind of who does what around you and stuff like that. So, like, it takes time. So, yeah, maybe next year for Gibbs hitting race 90, 80, 90 in his career, he could actually, because he's at 79 now.
Yep.
So he should, based on that stat, he should be knocking on the door next year to get some wins.
I think he will too. Like he's right. So Winston Cup standings, he's right behind Truex, and ahead of guys like Suarez, Busch, Briscoe. So he's right behind Bubba, Chastain, Logano.
Yep.
He'll be there. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll be one to watch next year. Zero worries with him.
Let's go for more of a speed round now, I guess, because we kind of talked about the big three. Some of the middle teams, I'll say. Starting with 23-11. Reddick had a great season.
Fantastic season. First Final Four for the team.
Yep.
Just didn't really have it at the end.
Bubba Wallace, I think he had a very good season. I think he was very unlucky with some of his finishes. Was a guy that came up short a few times. Got wrecked out a couple times. You know, you didn't make the playoffs, but you could say, damn, we were so close. And
yeah,
I feel like this is more of a blip on the Bubba Wallace experiment of being like, oh, a down year. And I feel like next year he'll definitely string it together, I think, more. And I think there's a little more confidence in the team. That being said, with the lawsuit, it'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah. That's going to be the thing hanging over this team. And they just added another car, too, which is interesting with Riley Herbst, which I don't know if you saw their like teaser tweet. The amount of people I saw that like paused the video on the silhouette of Herbst and were just like, we know who it is just based off of the ears.
Oh my God. That is bad. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this team is going to be very interesting next year. Hopefully Bubba gets a win or two. They can get into that sort of mid-pack team.
Yeah.
It's not just Reddick.
Yeah. As much as Reddick is the team lead there, it'll be nice to see Bubba maybe try to get to him and to see where Herbst actually gets to also. Like with the three of them. Yeah. Is Herbst going to push Bubba up, or is Bubba going to fall and be number 3 on that team? And if that's the case, then do you have to look at making a driver change? So I actually kind of like the idea of bringing a third car in for that team.
Yep.
So we'll see how that works out for him.
Yeah, but third. So I guess since we're just talking about Toyota in general as well,
terrible speed round.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say just because you have a third car in 2311, you have Legacy Motor Club who will be in their second year, and maybe have a better performance now, understanding the Toyota machinery a little bit better. It could 2311 could be interesting next year along with the rest of the Toyotas as they become a bigger manufacturer.
True. Very true.
That's the only point I wanted to make there.
That's fine. RFK.
We're not talking about legacy.
RFK.
Chris Buescher, just a little too late, both in terms of getting his win too late and also being second to the line in the closest ever finish. Sucks to suck a bit, but like overall, good season. If you're missing out by that, it's a tough go. You're in the playoff hunt.
Did anyone have more second place finishes than Keselowski this year? He had 4.
Good question. That's gonna be a hard number to beat.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look right now. I'm not seeing a whole lot of guys that had more than. Okay, there's 3 there for Blaney. Yeah, I think 4 is the number for most second place finishes, and like Keselowski had a great bounce back after last year. I think that was the performance from RFK this year that I think a lot of RFK fans would have wanted to see from last year.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love just saying RFK all the time and also just not having it relate to like any kind of political figure. Make RFK mean only racing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for them, really good year, good season. Again, not what you wanted in terms of overall performance, like Buescher not making the playoffs. But I think when you're looking back on the season, you can be like, okay, well, we won races. We did a lot better than last year, and we came damn close a lot of times. Let's do better next year.
Yep.
So again, you can build on that.
Yep.
Trackhouse.
Chastain, too little, too late.
Yep, same story as Buescher, both those guys.
Yep. Need that win. Guess a bit of a step back for him too. In terms of, I just want to see where he was last year. But it feels, I don't know, this year felt like we didn't say his name as much, and wasn't really I don't know, for me personally, just didn't feel like he was quite as big as a factor in a lot of races.
He was solid top 20, flirting with top 10. But I felt like for Chastain, like he never was in that top 5 fight for the win situation. He always had good cars, but not great cars on days. And it didn't go his way.
Yeah. So I'm just looking. So this year he had 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I don't know. Like his race record last year looks a lot nicer. A lot more top 5s, and within those top 5s, a lot of podiums as well. He had the win at Nashville. Didn't make the Final 4, but won it at Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Just, this looks like a lot more all over the place. Will be interesting to see how he rebounds next year.
Yeah, and I would say same thing with Suarez, right? Yeah, he got his win in Atlanta. Again, plate track. Kind of luck of the draw there.
Luck of the draw, but he's the road course guy too. So also good to see a bit of he can maybe hold his own.
Well, some of his best performances of the year were on non-road course tracks.
Yeah.
Suarez had a 3rd place in Las Vegas. He had a 5th place in Texas. Like, you know what? Like Suarez is slowly coming along, and if he can, get those more consistent wins, he could be a higher up. I would say he's a threat for a championship or for a Final 8, but I think he could definitely finish 9th in the championship, maybe 10th. He could luck in a win in those last 10 races and bump himself into a top 8. So we'll see. Like, you know what? I think there is a lot of talent for Suarez, and I think for Trackhouse, that's a team that it has a lot of pieces.
Yep.
It just has to kind of put it together.
Yeah. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Pitbull.
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide, RCR. Weak.
Yeah, needed to get setups to do well, and then still had to shove Logano out of the way,
Yeah.
and Hamlin.
Yeah, it was not a good year for them.
No, like Bush had that one stretch of I think it was like 5 races in the middle of the season where like nothing was going right, and it's where did he technically finish? Like I don't think either guy was top 15. Yeah, Kyle Busch was 17th in the Winston Cup style.
Yeah, not a good year for Kyle Busch, despite him having a couple runs where it looked like he could get a win. Again, he also had 2 second-place finishes the last 2 races of the year, which really was kind of a kick in the nuts because he easily could be in the playoffs. And we're talking about him having a okay year versus, I don't know, Harrison Burton having a good year, finishing 16th. So,
yep.
Though, as we were just looking on Truex, and as the last part of his years started to kind of fall off, are we seeing that with Kyle Busch?
Possibly.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
Yeah. Is this year like
a blip or is this a trend?
Yeah. Not that he'll necessarily compete for a championship, but you look at what Truex did where he bounced from like 17th back up to 10th.
Yeah.
So again, clearly not the championship caliber, but a top 10 driver in the sport. Can Kyle Busch do the same? I
think
would
he can.
lean towards I'd lean towards yes.
I think next year, if we had to bet on it, I would definitely bet Kyle Busch to finish better than he finished this year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, am I confident in that? Probably not as much as I could be.
Yeah, you're not running to bet it somewhere.
No.
You're like, I'll see what the odds are, and if the odds are good, I'll bet on it. If I'm getting 20-1, yeah, I'll take it.
100%. Anyone else you want to talk about it for the season? Because we kind of gone through all the big teams. Next, we have the little ones. I don't really feel like going through all the little teams.
No, definitely not. I mean, we've given our shout outs to the guys who got their first wins, so nothing to really do there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anyone. Oh, you know who? Chase Briscoe getting a win for SHR on their last year.
That's true. Honestly, you kind of forget about Stuart Haas, and they did not. They're just they've fallen off a cliff, and they've definitely phoned it in this year.
I mean, what do you expect? They had to. Their staff aren't sticking around because why would you?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so good for Briscoe to get a win for SHR at pretty much the last second. Good way to, or good to head into next year with Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, so hey, playoff caliber guy, gonna be pushing probably Denny, fighting with Gibbs, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does in terms of like where he slots into the Gibbs lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Yeah, other than that, like, I don't know, is there anyone else you want to shout out here? Just looking.
Honestly, not particularly. Yeah, I think that's all. We can go over our predictions and finish off with having a laugh of how we thought things would go.
Yeah. Well, NASCAR regular season, you guys got slapped around a little bit by me.
Just a quick question. Can we get points based on Winston Cup, not based on the championship? Just to see if there was any change there as well.
I'll do that for next week.
Fine. That might make it a little closer too.
You said you want me to spend the next 5 minutes doing this? Or...
No, your math is.
Or you know what? Here, because I will Here, no, because I will try and do this. I will go fucking chameleon eyes on this and see how I can do.
Okay.
Because we can also go through our wins bets.
Ooh, okay. Who were our teams? Let's go over that for a second.
What do you mean? Who are our teams?
Who did we all pick?
Oh, you want? Okay, so regular season, you had Elliott.
Okay.
So you had the first pick. I had the last. Taylor was in the middle. You took Elliott. She took Byron. Or you know what? We'll do team by team. You had Elliott, Hamlin, Busher, Keselowski. Taylor had Byron, Bell, Bubba, Logano.
Wow, she choked that away with a Bubba pick.
Yep. And I had Blaney, Larson, Reddick, Gibbs.
Okay, yeah.
So I beat you by 158 points.
Damn.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not that bad. But
no,
in the overall, like
in NASCAR, that's not that bad.
Yeah. The Larson Reddick one, I think, is a very good combo for you.
It'll be much closer with the Winston Cup, though. The numbers are also going to change because all of a sudden Christopher Bell has 4,800 points.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you don't have to worry about that, but we'll go over it next week and we can just talk about it quickly.
It already started.
Well, and what did we have for the bets also? Because
okay.
Again,
So
I would love to go over this too, and then I could say it while you do it, but you're the one who keeps all the damn stats and keeps all the team things.
I shared the file with both of you, and you never, ever look at it. It's not my fault.
I mean, like a friendly reminder would also be nice, because I don't even know where this file is located.
No one updates any of it, any of the notes, nothing.
This sounds like a you problem now, actually.
No.
Yeah, this is poor administration by Steven.
Nope.
Yep, exactly. Anyway,
nope.
Wins bets.
Wins bets. Okay, so Henrik, you guys are pretty close. I had Henrik at 15 wins. I was very optimistic on them. You guys both took 12. They had 11 wins.
Okay, you know what? That's actually not bad.
Nope. So good start for you guys there. Team Penske. Taylor was the most bullish on Penske and had 6 wins for them. They ended up at 8. I had 4. You had 3.
Wow, I was not high on Penske. I'll remember that for next year. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gibbs. You and I both had 5. Taylor had 4. They ended up at 6.
Okay, you know what? Right now on this wins guest, Taylor's doing the best. Do not fucking tell her this. But as these first, no, she won't even listen to this. If she listens to this, I'll give her $20. Actually, no, I always say that. If she listens to this, I'll give her 25. There we go.
There you go. Change it up a little.
Exactly. That way it's a little unpredictable. But yeah, like she is off by 1 on each one of these. Like I'm surprised.
Yep.
Okay, what was next?
What did I say? We just did Gibbs 23-11. Had 3 wins, all from Tyler Reddick. You were very high on them. You had them at 5.
I assume Bubba would get 2.
He did not.
He did not.
Taylor had them at 4. I had them at 3, so I nailed that one.
Again,
SHR,
her average is off by 1 still. Damn.
Yep. SHR, you had them at 2. Taylor and I both had them at 1. They ended up with 1 win, as we said with Briscoe. RFK, you had 4 wins for RFK, which, if things go a little bit better for Keselowski, maybe they hit that. Taylor and I both had 3. They ended up at 2. Team Trackhouse, Taylor had 3. We had 2. They ended up at 2. RCR, Taylor had 2 wins for RCR. We both had 1. They ended up with 1 win. And then we also had wins for Colleague and Legacy. Taylor had a win for Colleague. Daughtry ended up winning with Stenhouse. And Wood Brothers ended up winning with Harrison Burton. So, in terms of the most accurate, I had 4 correct. In terms of average, I'm going to have to look.
In terms of average, Taylor's off by 1 or nailed it.
Yeah. So it's just how much the
number actually, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We were, I think, kind of spot on with a lot of those. Like we were in the ballpark.
Pretty good.
I'm not disappointed with those. And like, again, if you think about it, like with some of those surprise wins to like Daughtry, I don't think anyone would have expected Stenhouse to win. Looking back, probably should have. But, it's like the odds are ridiculous.
Yep. Or one win out of RCR, and it's Austin Dillon.
Yes, and it wasn't even Kyle Busch.
So, yeah, we can go. I'll throw the averages together, and we can see.
That's fair.
Next week.
Okay.
What am I saying? We the two of us will look this over, and then depending on how the results go.
Yeah. If Taylor's winning, we're just not going to tell her. So that's it's instantly just slap her down with the the fantasy. Exactly.
So to be fair,
did she do the Winston Cup yet?
No, you said don't do it.
Oh,
so I didn't do
it. You were committing. God damn it, man! Come on. Okay, fine. So we'll talk about that later.
I mean, to be fair, it's not a great start for us. She has 2 of the top 3 drivers.
Oh fuck. Okay, yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. It's all good. Anything else, or is that all we got for this week?
That is all we got this week.
Well, another NASCAR season over with, and honestly, it wasn't that bad of one. And I'm excited for next season. I think next season will be really good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year.
On the bright side, we're like 3 months away from Daytona.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi were like, "Yeah, we don't get an off season. We just have like a non-travel season."
Dude,
3 months where they don't.
I thought Vegas was last weekend because of like the timing wise. We're in like coming up to the last weekend of November. We still got 3 more F1 races to go. Like this is a great time for motorsports because you really just have like January off.
Yep.
And then you're right back in, and you can really get more granular and just like Formula E and everything else that's happening around then. Like it is fantastic to see, and there is no break. Racing's always happening. Yep. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Anyway, on that note, let's go play some Call of Duty.
Thank you for tuning in to the Spare Parts Racing podcast. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and follow the show on Twitter at Spare Parts Racing. That's Spare Parts RACIN, and on TikTok at Spare Parts Pod. Follow the hosts at Sean Chavarella, at Stephen Clary, and at Tay Moore.